Now, for those of you who've been following us for some time or following this channel for some time, you know that Sofi Technologies is one of the companies that we discuss a lot onto this channel. Now, you remember that the last time we spoke of Sofi, it was before the Q1 of 2022 earnings results, which were set to come or to be released yesterday after market hours. Now, of course, I don't know for what reasons the results were sort of like released earlier. I think it was during market hours, and people got to see what Sofi produced on the Q1 of 2022 earnings. Now, so many of the people were expecting, or some analysts were expecting, that Sofi, due to the student loan repayment holds, Sofi is going to further decrease their earnings for the rest of the year, or their guidance for the earnings for 2022, of which we got to see the opposite from their Q1 2022 earnings, which they report yesterday, guidance, which that of course will also be covering on this video today. But before we go any further, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video and you should not take it as a professional financial advice video. If you seek professional financial advice, you already know what to do. But I would really appreciate if you can just hit that like button if you enjoy the content that I'll be giving you about Sofi Technologies today. Now, you remember that for the GAAP revenue, or for the GAAP revenue, Sofi of course reported a GAAP or GAAP revenue of around $330 million, which was up 69% year over year, and also reported an adjusted net revenue of around $322 million, which was up 49% year over year. And of course, by these results, it just simply means that they managed to beat analyst expectations, because you know that most analysts believed, or they were expecting, Sofi Technologies to report the total revenues of below 300 million. And get to see that Sofi managed to report total revenues of over 300 million is something that is really commendable, and must be the one to probably motivate you to stay long onto this Sofi Technology stock. Now, same goes with the EPS, or their earnings per share. Sofi Technologies reported an EPS of around 0.14, and I still not notice that analysts were expecting, of course, Sofi to report an EPS of around 0.15, which getting to see that again, Sofi Technologies managed to beat analyst expectations even on the EPS or earnings per share is something that is really commendable. Now, you'll remember that for the past 3 quarters, or from Q3, Q4, and the latest earnings Q1 of 2022, Sofi has been beating analyst expectations. And irregardless of Sofi beating analyst expectations, except for the Q3, which we saw Sofi's shares surging after those earnings, Q4 and Q1 of 2022, which are the recent earnings, Sofi stock, after those earnings, we saw them dropping. Now, this is something that must just show you that it is not to say that Sofi earnings are bad, but they're sort of like probably because of the current market conditions, that this Sofi stock is down. But this is a company that is doing very well, which is something that I think it must be noted, and you must take note of that. Now, one of the things that, of course, if you check the previous video which I was doing about the Sofi Technology stock, I had said that I would really want to see, or I would really like Sofi to report total membership at the end of Q1 to be around 4 million. Well, Sofi, though they did not get to that target which I was expecting to see, they reported total membership to be around 3.9 million at the end of Q1 of 2022, which is not that bad, because this just simply means that for the Q1 of 2022, Sofi Technologies managed to accumulate or bring over 400,000 new members to their platform, which is something that I think is commendable, and obviously just simply means that Sofi is doing quite well, which is why we are seeing, of course, membership growing this much. Now, Sofi Technology stock, which is just said to do very well, and like I said, they gave us they updated their full year guidance, which, like I said, so many or some of the analysts were expecting that Sofi is going to come, or as the year unfolds, Sofi will come and of course cut further the full year guidance for the earnings, which of course on this Q1 we saw that Sofi, instead of decreasing their full year earnings, they increased. And of course, for you that have been following Sofi Technologies, you remember that Sofi initially last year, I think they came and said that this year they are planning to, of course, report total revenues of around $1.57 billion. And due to the student loan repayment holds, they came and revised and said that they are going to report full year revenue, or they expect to generate full year revenues of around $1.47 billion. Now, today or yesterday, as these earnings were leaked, we saw, or we came to see that Sofi Technisys now is saying that instead of that $1.47 billion that they were expecting, or they came and did a reiteration, now they're saying that in fact they can generate around $1.5 billion, or they're expecting to generate $1.5 billion for the rest of this year, which is something that is incredible, because this year simply means that now Sofi is going to even do much better than their guidance, or their updated guidance, which they had come and announced to us, which is something that I think it is commendable, and is something that must make you to see that Sofi is a company that will do very well, or that company that is doing very well regardless of the student loan repayments holds. Sofi is a company that is doing very well, which is something that you must have at the back of your mind before you decide, of course, to also sell this Sofi technology stock. Sofi, it is a good long-term stock which will do very well regardless of the short-term headwinds like your student loan repayments holds extension. Sofi, it is that company that is doing quite well. I mean, we have seen, I've mentioned so many partnerships of Sofi with other companies, and also at their acquisitions, which I think they are all just propelling it to flourish high into the air, which is something that must just make you to see that Sofi, of course, in the short term, its share price might be trading very low due to the short-term headwinds, but this is a company which it is proving to us through its earnings that it is a company that will do very well in the long term. So if you are buying Sofi now, just know that this is a company that you need to hold it for a long term. And like I said in the beginning of this video, this is of course not financial advice, these are just my opinions, but this is a company that I'm going to continue to hold for a longer term, because I believe that its future prospects are just so massive, and it will do quite a number of things which of course will make their revenues and their earnings per share to be much better than the one they're of course reporting now. And with the banking chatter, I personally think that reason why of course they are able to produce these wonderful earnings and beat analyst expectations is because probably of the banking chatter, which already you know that they just got that license beginning of this year. So far, it is a stock that is doing very well, ladies and gents. I mean, for the fact that they were able to beat their own guidance must just show you that Sofi is a company that is just set to do very well. Now, this company, as I've said, not only did they give us the full guidance there, but they also gave us the guidance for the upcoming Q2 earnings, which will get probably, I don't know, the second half of this year, obviously. So far, indicated that they're expecting to generate total revenues of between $330 and $340 million for their Q2 earnings, which is something that getting to see, of course, Sofi being able to thresh their own expectations together with analyst expectations. I still believe that they will also probably beat these expectations that they've set for themselves. What it just shows you, or has to show you, is that Sofi, regardless of this student loan repayment holds, it is still doing very well. I mean, of course, I've received questions of saying that since student loan is probably put into hold, Sofi will struggle to generate revenues. And of course, we are seeing the good revenues that Sofi is reporting with or without the student loan repayments factored in. Now, this is something that from Sofi, or looking into Sofi, it's really commendable. And by the time the student loan repayments are resumed, just imagine the kind of revenues that Sofi will report. With that in mind, it must just make you to see the kind of growth that you will find onto this Sofi Technology stock. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you this quick update about Sofi Technologies, looking at the earnings that they gave us yesterday. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I make tons and tons of stock market investing videos, and if you think and that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And of course, once you subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time we drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and see you on my next video, and God bless you all.